Can't get any worse. Podcast on blast, giving you the real talk, no holding back. Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get Any Worse Podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Can't Get Any Worse podcast. How are we all today? And are we having a glorious Tuesday? Because I hope we fucking are. Now that we've got the formalities out of the way, what a cracking weekend, you know? What couple of ups, couple of downs. You know how it is around here. But yeah, in here to lay down some hot smoke for you guys to listen to this week. Yeah, it was a busy weekend now that I think about it, but I do think I have a couple of them as talking points. So let's just rip in from the top. And I figured, where better to kick off than some out there stories about my kids? Just a couple more stories out there in the atmosphere for other parents to judge me on. Meanwhile, they're sitting at home drinking themselves. Oh dear God, drinking themselves to death and just doing shit behind closed doors. So here's the crazy thing, right? I'm not like predators, like Mr. Bill Cosby that used to sit behind me here before we had to kick him off the podcast. See, all my smoke, or not smoke, all my, what's the word? All my dirty laundry. Dirty laundry, there we go. All my dirty laundry is aired out here on the podcast weekly. So it's not hard to cancel me. I come out here every week and just put my worst shit on display. So I've got hours of footage on the internet now of just me at my worst. So come at me, ladies and gentlemen. Come at me. What are you going to come at me for? I think that's the cool thing about comedy as well. And like at the very, very start, I didn't really do this, but as soon as I did start doing it, that's when I started to feel the wheels turn with comedy. And it's like you hear the greats and stuff. They're like, oh, just joke about what's happening to you. Joke about your insecurities. Joke about what you're anxious about. Yada, yada, yada. And as soon as I started writing jokes about all that shit, that's when like comedy started to not take off for me because I'm still at the bottom of the barrel, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what I'm trying to get across. But anyway, like I said, let's rip into some children's stories. I should get into that. I should write a children's book. I wonder what it would be about. There is actually a comedian in the scene that writes children's books and sells them after shows, and I'm like, genius. That is fucking genius. Like, what would my merch be if I wanted to sell something after a show? I have often thought this, and actually, this was a genuine merch idea that I had a couple of months ago, and Adrian 3D printed me one. Like we all know, like I tell you guys, a lot of my jokes are stupid little dick jokes. They're dick-based jokes. So I was like, oh, that'd be pretty funny to do like dick merchandise, and I stumbled across this idea, right? Turns out it's on the internet because Adrian found a 3D printed file for it. But I thought, imagine 3D printing a little dick and balls that screws on the end of your toothpaste, right? So when you're squeezing your toothpaste out onto your toothbrush every morning, it's just coming out the end of a dick. Genius, right? I thought that was genius. So Adrian's printed me a prototype. I should actually bring it in on... YouTube will probably banish me. YouTube is cracking down on a couple of things lately. Every week I post a video and it's like, oh, buddy, you've said a few too many swear words, or the topics in your description are a little bit crude. But it is what it is. We haven't had a video get pulled down yet, so hopefully, getting some exciting comedy messages, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll touch on that at the end of the show. Anyway, let's get into these kids' stories that I've been teasing for the last half an hour. And the first one kicks off with a bit of a gross and disgusting one, you know, like made me feel a little bit sick. Made me feel, what was that documentary I spoke about a couple of months ago? It came out on Netflix. The two brothers killed their family. I don't even remember. You know the ones. But yeah, a little bit too close like they were, right? I had to crack the whip and teach the children about... I'm not even going to say that because that sounds fucked up. I was about to say I had to teach my kids about like incest and stuff like that. Scratch that. I shouldn't have even justified myself. That's how stupid I am today. But Westy comes home from school the other day and he's chilling on the couch with Parker, and I'm cruising around. I'm doing like usual parent shit. I'm picking up washing, or I don't know, picking up plates and shit that have been left in the lounge room. Just cruising around the house. Okay, so I've got a visual ear, not a visual. I've got an audio ear on what's going on in the conversation, and they're talking to each other, and out of nowhere, Westy just goes, "Oh yeah, like you probably don't even know what French kissing is," and I've gone, "Uh-oh, what is going on here?" And like every now and then over the last couple of months, he's been dropping shit that I guess you start to discover when you're a kid that age. And in my eyes, he's still like my little baby. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's so precious and fragile. But in reality, when I stood back and looked at it, he's in grade 3 now, right? And I thought back to all the shit that I knew in grade 3, and I'm like, oh, okay, at least he doesn't know as much as I did in grade 3, because I went to the same school he is going to now in grade 3, and like there were kids bringing pornos to school. There were kids bringing pornos to school and stuff, and burying them in bushes. Would run up to the bush at lunchtime, dig it out, and there'd just be like 6 of us standing around going, "Oh, look at that! That's sick." And then another one of the kids he like backed onto the school, and there was like one day where we jumped the fence over to his house. I don't even know why we did this, and he was like showing. This is so fucked up. He was like showing us his mum's sex toys and stuff, and we're like, "Oh, that's sick." But now looking back, it's like, bro, that's fucking disgusting. Anyway, I'm glad Westy's just learning about French kissing now that I've blurted all that out. Anyway, he goes, "Oh, you don't even know what French kissing is," and then he starts getting all cocky about it. He's like, "Yeah, me and my mates, we like learn about French kissing and stuff at school, and we teach each other how to do it and stuff." And I'm like, "Hold on a minute. What did you just say?" So then I've come in the room. I've gone, "Oh, let's get a little bit closer to the conversation." And he's still ripping on his 4-year-old brother that he doesn't know what French kissing is. And then he goes, "Oh, come here. I'll show you how to French kiss." And then I've stepped in. That's when I've stepped in, ladies and gentlemen. I go, "Excuse me, Westy, you are not going to French kiss your brother." And he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to teach him how to do it." I'm like, "How are you going to teach him how to do it?" And he's like, "Just like in the air." I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? Anyway, P's got no idea what's going on. He's just trying to watch like a show on fucking YouTube or something, but he's just playing along with his older brother, thinking it's cool. Anyway, I go, "Westy, do you even know what French kissing is?" He's like, "Yeah, of course I do." And I'm like, "What is it then?" And he's like, "It's like when you kiss a girl." And I'm like, "Okay, is that it?" And he's like, yeah, I think so." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So then I gave him a lesson on French kissing. You know what I mean? Like from the maestro over here, from the best French kisser in the game. Next time Nikita comes on the podcast, we should bring up my French kissing game. Not bad. And then hey, all the dads that are listening, I pulled this one out of my back pocket, and we all know where we're heading. I've gone back in the kitchen. I'm telling Nikita what's just gone down in the lounge room. Like, oh, so everyone's aware, I've de-escalated the situation. Okay, I didn't leave my 2 sons in the lounge room just French kissing each other. Everything was sorted. So I've gone into the kitchen, told Nikita, and then I've pulled the classic dad joke on her. I've gone, "Oh, do you want an Australian kiss?" And she's like, "Oh, don't fucking say it. Don't say it. Don't say it." And I've gone, "It's like a French kiss, only down under." Oh, God. Ash would have fucking pissed his pants at that if he was sitting over there. So I need you back in the studio, Ash. Fuck the Sunshine Coast. Get your ass back down here now. I'm sure that would have got across to him now. He's probably calling Katie right now going, "Babe, the Can't Get Any Worse podcast needs me. They're in a time of distress. They need my dad jokes on the couch." A little bit worried about the camera today, ladies and gentlemen. We all know that I've upgraded the last couple of weeks, but I took it on a little vacation yesterday to record another podcast, which we'll touch on shortly. And it just kept cutting out like mid-record. So I think there must be like a setting in there, because lately my podcasts have been going for like 40 to 45 minutes, okay? which I'm pretty happy with. Like I said, I've cut a lot of the fat out of it. I'm just getting in, saying what I got to say, and get the fuck out of here. Whereas yesterday's podcast went for like close to 2.5 hours, I think. So I think there must be a setting in there where it keeps shutting out. So fingers crossed, it doesn't shut out this week. So I'm consciously keeping an eye on the recording red ring. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Anywho, we brushed past the French kissing thing. Now, if I've spoken about this on the podcast before in the last couple of weeks, I'm sincerely sorry, but I do not remember talking about it on the podcast. I know I told a lot of people in my personal life. They all found it fucking hilarious. And I think I wrote it down to talk on the podcast. But then when I was thinking about it this week, I'm like, I don't actually think that I ended up bringing that up on the podcast. So I could have done some research and gone back and investigated, but fuck that. Let's just rip into it. Westy, obviously, he's on YouTube and stuff like all the other kids his age. And he usually just listens to music on there, watches some like Fortnite gameplay stuff, yada, yada, yada. And like I said, we try and keep as close of an eye on them as we can. Kids are going to be kids. They're going to sneak shit. They're going to do whatever. But every now and then, every couple of weeks, Nikita and I take their iPads and we just have a bit of a snoop on there and go, oh, what's going on? Go through his kids' messenger app and make sure he's not picking on anyone or no one's picking on him. And so far, so good. We're in the clear, okay? Until I picked his iPad up last week and I needed it for something. I think I wanted to play music. I think my headphones must have died or something. Some long story. And I just wanted to play music on it. So I've jumped on YouTube and I've tapped on the search bar. And as the search option, like the search history has rolled down the screen, the first search that popped up was suck me boy. And I've gone, what the fuck is Westy Googling right now? Like, especially off the back of that last story I just told. I'm like, we've lost him. We've lost him, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be standing on a courtroom in about 10 years just watching my son get convicted for something weird. And so I'm in panic mode. I've gone, oh my God, what am I going to do? I wait for Nikita to get home. I'm like, I start talking to her. I'm like, how are we going to address it? What are we going to do? Anyway, later that night, I'm sitting on the couch. I think I was playing some Fortnite or something, and Westy was on the other couch. And when Westy's feeling a little bit lazy, he won't type shit into the search bar, okay? He will do voice to text. So he'll hold his iPad up to his screen and he'll talk something into it and then it'll search it for him, right? Just being lazy. And him and his little mates at the moment that play Fortnite, they're obsessed with this song that's called Sigma Boy. Exactly. You all just guessed it straight off the bat. So I've watched Westy lift his iPad up and say Sigma Boy into his iPad, and I've gone, oh my God, thank you so much. My 8-year-old son is not cruising around the playgrounds just going, suck me boy. I was so relieved. Hey, but I love all my LGBTQI plus homies and brethren out there. You know what I mean? Big proponent of the community. So don't come at me, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, what else we got? Oh, speaking about kids, we've look, everyone knows I've got a bit of a bung knee. And the last time that I really destroyed it, I don't want to throw any allegations around, but I heavily blame the trampoline in the backyard, okay? We got the trampoline. Took me back to my childhood. I was throwing half front flips and shit like that, bouncing the kids, yada, yada, yada. Woke up the next day, sorest knee in history. Now, it's still pretty sore, but over the weekend, the kids are like, Dad, come on the trampoline. And I'm like, nah, not keen, boys. It's not worth the risk. Anyway, yesterday, I felt a little bit, I had a bit of that like parenting guilt seep in, okay? Like I basically left just as they were waking up yesterday morning. I was gone for maybe like 4 to 5 hours recording the podcast and stuff down the coast. Then I came back and then I had about 2 to 3 hours before I had to start getting ready for the show at Distillery Road last night. So I was like, fuck it. I want to make those hours count. So I've just gone into cool parent mode. They've gone, Dad, can you come on the trampoline? And I've gone, let's do this. Let's blow my fucking knee out so that I have to use crutches to get on stage tonight. and I start doing the usual. I start with the steady jumps, and I'm like, oh, it's so addictive. I don't know what it is about trampolines, but if you've got one in your backyard right now, pause the podcast, run out there, have a couple of jumps, and see how many jumps. Count how many jumps it takes you to attempt a front flip again at the ripe old age of 33, if you're like me. Anyway, I start doing that. I'm jumping. I'm getting higher. I start throwing half front flips, okay? I can't land on my feet. I'm basically just doing glorified roly-polies, if we want to be honest. And the kids are going, oh, my God, Dad can front flip. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I can front flip. I mean, I guess I'm pretty cool. And so I'm doing that. And then all of a sudden they say those evil words, the worst words a child can say to a parent. Hey, Dad, can you double bounce us? I thought you guys would never ask. I thought you would never ask. Is there a better childhood memory than double bouncing your mates? Now, fair play, okay? When I used to double bounce my mates, A, we were all the same size. B, we were like in our teens, I guess, if not early childhood. And and C, I wasn't 125 kilos back then. Bouncing a couple of kids that are lucky to be like, Parker's lucky to be 20 kilos and Westy's probably lucky to be 30. So I've gone, all right, let's do some double bounces. And first couple, this is so fun, Dad. This is so fun. And then evil Dad's got a little bit too competitive because Westy wasn't falling down anymore. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I've got you. And then I just started to take it too far. I've got kids crying and stuff. And the breaking point was literally breaking point. I double bounced Parker so hard, I literally thought I snapped his spine in half. In my eyes, the back of his head bent down and touched his ass cheeks. That's how hard I fucking double bounced him. And he's just dropped to the trampoline and just started screaming. And I've gone, oh my God, I've broken his back. I legit thought like these couple of hours I was going to spend being the world's best dad. I'm like, I'm going to go down as the world's worst dad. I'm going to have to go to the emergency room, look the doctors in the eye when they're going, so how exactly did this happen? And I'd have to be like, well, basically, I was jumping on the trampoline. They were like, oh, you can't get us down. And I was like, well, fuck you guys. And then I bounced them as hard as I could and snapped my son's spine. Is that a crime, Doc? Because as far as I'm concerned, that's just some good old roughhousing fun between father and son. So sue me if it is. Throw the book at me. But yeah, fun times. What's that 4KQ saying from back in the day? Good times, great classic hits. No, that wasn't it. I don't know. I've decided I'm just going to start letting my brain go on a couple of little tangents on the podcast, like that moment just there. If I'm trying to remember something, I'm not going to get scared of the silence. Okay, I'm just going to embrace it, and I think it's going to lead for a better podcast. You guys let me know if that's wrong. But Parker's new obsession the last week or so, I don't even know where this has come from. Oh, a bit of water there to rejuvenate my voice. He's found this obsession with Star Wars recently. I don't know where it's from. I hate Star Wars, okay? Don't come at me, ladies and gentlemen. They're just too long. They're too boring. There's too many of them. It's like, which one do I watch first? And then, like, now there's TV series, there's cartoon series. It's like, how could you possibly keep up? It's too late for me. I didn't get on the train when I should have, and now I'll never know how Star Wars ends. You know what? I do know how Star Wars ends, and I think that's why I don't want to watch it, because Darth Vader is his dad. There we go. Sorry if I just ruined that to anyone, but it's been like 83 years since the first one. Anyway, all week they're like, can we watch like a real Star Wars? Because they've been watching the Star Wars cartoons on Disney Plus, and Parker's like, I want to watch a real one. And I'm like, oh, dude, you're 4. Like, there's monsters and stuff. People are killing each other. I'm like, I don't really want you to. And he's like, please. And I was like, oh, okay. So I put it on for him last night. And you know Star Wars movies, they start off with that stupid music and just like the writing just scrolling on the screen. And straight away, Westy and Parker just start pissing their pants. And I'm like, what are you guys laughing at? And they're like, oh, this is stupid. Why does it look like the movie's already finished? And I'm like, it's not finished. They're like, well, the credits are rolling. And I'm like, oh my God, it's not credits. You're meant to be reading that so you know like the story or whatever. And they're like, oh, whatever. Can you fast forward this? This is boring. Fast forward it. Gets into some stupid like fight scene. I did not realize how bad the graphics and stuff were in the old Star Wars movies. And I mean, it goes without saying. It's an old movie. Of course, it's going to be shit compared to what we've got these days. And instantly, they start laughing at everything. They're laughing at the way people are speaking. Monsters come on the screen. They just start laughing because it's clearly just someone with terrible like makeup and shit on. And I'm like, guys, I don't think Star Wars is for you guys. You guys need to go back and just watch the cartoon ones. Just stick to what you know. Stick to the status quo. Whoa, whoa. That was for all my High School Musical fans that listen. Hey, I stand by it. Still the best trilogy ever made. There we go. Fuck Star Wars. High School Musical is the best movie series in history. Prove me wrong. Anyway, let's rip into some shit that isn't about my kids. Again, this needs to be somewhat vague, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone that listens to this story, you do not know me. You do not know what I do for a profession. You do not know anything, okay? So let's just, like, Men in Black thing right now. Ready? I'll flash you. Flash. We've forgotten everything. So I may or may not have gone to a meeting last week for a work situation. Let's say that. Let's say a work situation. And I'm talking to this bloke. We get there, and the place is it's a renovator job site, okay? So he's pretty well gutted the place, and I walk into the place. He takes me to a room, switches the light on. Now, this is clearly the room that he stays in if he's pulling some all-nighters down there, okay? And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Walk into the room. He switches the light on. The only thing on the floor is a mattress with a white sheet. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. What do you need done? He starts explaining what he wants done. I'm taking it all in. Then I start looking around the room, and I don't know why, but I just look down at the bed again. Now, in the exact position that a grown male would lay on a mattress, around about halfway, okay? Approximately halfway, maybe closer to the bottom end, I see a brown stain, a brown patch on this clearly white sheet, and I've gone, oh my God, I think that's shit. I think I'm staring at a giant shit stain right now. And as I've noticed it, I notice him somewhat noticing me notice it. But neither of us wanted to acknowledge it, okay? So we're just explaining we're pretending that doesn't exist. Meanwhile, every couple of seconds, we're still glancing down at a clear shit stain on a white sheet. Just going, this is cool, mate. I don't see any dramas with this, you know what I mean? Let's just push on. But, yeah, I don't know if he had a big night the night before. He just worked his absolute ass off, literally, and just laid on his bed and going, I'll deal with this tomorrow. And just fucking wiped his sweaty, shitty ass cheeks all over the bed. But, yeah, again, you do not know me. You do not know what I do for a profession, and it will never be disclosed. For all you guys know, I could be a landscaper. I'm a landscaper. That's what I am, ladies and gentlemen. But last thing to cap off the weekend, I went and recorded a podcast down the coast at Mayraki Podcast Studio yesterday morning with Maddie Carvosso from the Mayraki Podcast, previous guest of the Can't Get Any Worse podcast, and Ty Avery from the Roads We've Walked podcast, again, previous guest of the Can't Get Any Worse podcast. So the three of us had this little shut the fuck up, James. We had an idea. Let's just call it an idea. To get together, the three of us didn't get chosen for the Podcast Royale, and we're like, oh, it's fucking a cool little thing that we're all sort of keeping our eye on. A couple of podcasters in Australia all getting together, basically doing a big boxing event at the Gold Coast Convention Centre. And yeah, we're like, oh, what can we do? So we basically got together and we did a fight breakdown, a little bit like I do with the UFC breakdowns. Maybe not as in-depth with those because almost everyone on there has not had previous fights before. So there wasn't really a great deal to break down, but we ended up getting a lot of the fighters on the podcast, which was cool to have a chat to them. I hadn't spoken to them, to a few of them before. I've spoken to a couple of them before, but it was cool to finally make that connection in a way, I guess. And it was just obviously fun throwing banter around with Ty and Maddie, just ripping on each other. So, yeah, I believe we're going to try and drop that Thursday on all of our platforms. But whether or not it does, it'll be out at some stage. And just follow me on socials and keep an eye on it. But, yeah, cracking episode. That's that one that went for like 2.5 hours. So strap in, ladies and gentlemen. It was one of those ones where we got to the end and I was like, oh, okay, that didn't feel like 2.5 hours. Because, like, I'm bad for having a need to take a piss, okay? But I got through that whole podcast without even having the urge to go and take a piss. So there was obviously something that was entertaining in it, and hopefully that comes across the audio waves or screen to you guys. So if you're intrigued in the Podcast Royale, if you listen to podcasts like the Alpha Blokes or who else do we have on? Now That's Dramas, Dusty Boots, all heap of Australian podcasts, okay? If you listen to any of those guys, jump on, have a listen. Chances are we had them on the show to have a bit of a chat. And yeah, we'll see how it comes out. But anyway, let's rip into my week in comedy. I'm going to have another little sippy susu before we do. What are we? Oh, yeah, we're not sitting too badly for time, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that's refreshing. Refreshing. All right. The week kicked off. Now, I will be dropping it is Monday. So this video will be out the day this episode comes out because I'm dropping this video on my personal YouTube this afternoon at 6 p.m. if all goes to plan. So I did another green room ride along and I've bunched these 3 gigs. So basically I did 3 gigs over 2 nights and I was like, oh, fuck doing a green room ride along for all 3. They'll just get drawn out. It'll be boring. So I'm like, oh, it'll be kind of cool to show the chaos of trying to get to 2 gigs on one night, yada, yada, yada. So I've chopped them all together. I've made an episode. Let's go through the gigs one by one and then we'll touch on that. Oh, how's that for a teaser? So Tuesday night, I had the Junction Bar for sit-down comedy. I believe this was only like the 2nd or 3rd show there. Relatively new room. I rock up to the gig. The car park is pretty well dead, if we're being honest. But I'm like, okay, positive attitude. Let's get in there. Let's see what happens. And I get in there, and it is pretty quiet, okay? Talking to the comedians and stuff. Everything's pretty chilled out. Everything's going well. I had a good send-off from Nikita and the kids. There was no tears. There was no chaos. Everything was stacking up to be good, okay? Apart from the relatively small crowd. Now, I was messaging one of my mates this week in the comedy scene, and I'm like, fuck, I need to, like, I don't know, this kind of sounds like a shitty thing to say, like saying it out loud, but I kind of need to go back to, like, pounding open mic rooms more than I do, because at the sit-down gig, there was maybe 6 people that weren't comedians. So that was basically our audience, and then the other comedians filled the tables. So I was like, oh, shit, I'm just playing to these 6 people, whereas lately, and again, this is the fucking arrogant and shitty thing that I hate to say, I've been playing to rooms where it's been like a decent crowd. So you can sort of bounce off it, things like that. If some people in the crowd aren't enjoying it, at least you've got a whole nother group of people over there that are enjoying it that you can play to. So I just sort of felt myself crumble a little bit at that point. But the big thing, I didn't notice this until I was setting my camera up, okay? So I was just about to go on stage, and as I was doing that, I'm setting my camera up, and I look to the left of me, and I see a bloke that I used to work with back in my old job, okay? So basically, I was like a manager. I had like a management position. I quit the job. They're like, oh, can you stay on? Just take a step back. We'll get someone to fill your position. I'm like, okay, sweet. Let's work that out. So this guy comes in, takes over. It didn't quite pan out for the company for whatever reason. And yeah, it all left very, very awkwardly and weird and things like that. And as I've looked to the left, I've seen that guy sitting front and center, and I've gone, oh, fuck my life. Like, he sort of, like, he probably wouldn't have thought this, but in my head, I'm like, he's probably just looking at me going, who's the fucking loser now, dickhead? Like, I'm sitting here eating my steak. You're up there bombing your dick off. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is going great, ladies and gentlemen. But it did not go my way. I ate a humble dick. And that's okay. Like, it was It wasn't the most brutal bombing I've ever had. I listened back to the recording. It felt worse up there than it came across. Like I listened back to the recording. I'm like, oh, there was like laughter in the room. Whereas at the time I was just like, it was crickets up here. It was silent. The other crazy thing, I don't know why they would have done this, but the venue booked like a violin group to do their like rehearsal the same night in the room behind us. So all through our sets, like I've got a couple of jokes where I pause for dramatic effect, things like that, try to build a bit of tension in the stories. But during that silence, all you could hear was like the violins just playing my death, you know, like the Titanic sinking. That's exactly what it was like. Anyway, I go to the car. That was it for that night. So gig 1 for the vlog, bomb. Okay, it's not ideal, but let's push through. Next night, we go up to the National Australian Hotel at Woolloongabba. Again, never done this gig before. I believe it's been, I think it's been running for a while actually. And the bloke that runs it, absolute legend. Throws me heaps of spots. He was actually on the Distillery Road lineup last night and fucking crushed. Had one of the best sets of the night, in my opinion. So yeah, he threw me on that one. I get up there. I go, look, I got another gig that I got to get to. Any chances I could go in the first half and then I can go back half of the other gig? He's like, yeah, no dramas. So he throws me up first. He jumps up there and yeah, we'll touch on the gig and then we'll touch on some other stuff. So straight off the bat, it was a bit of a weird setup. It was up the top of this old school pub that had been like converted to a nightclub kind of thing. Like it felt like we were in a nightclub. Like there was booth seating and LED lights everywhere. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it's not the first time I've performed in a nightclub. The last couple of times it happened, I didn't go great, but hey, that's probably a me issue. Anyway, so I'm still walking around, positive attitude. I'm like, okay, it's going to go well. Opening the show, 10-minute set, let's go. And it was billed as like a dirty and dark humor night. So I'm like, this is it. This is my crowd. MC jumps up there. He starts trying to win them over. And the crowd just didn't seem, they weren't really like into it. Like they weren't really giving the MC anything. And I was like, oh, fuck. All right. Still, I could be the missing piece of the puzzle. So I'm like, positive attitude. Let's go up there. Let's try and get the little crush that we need. I get up there. I start my set, and it started off okay. I got a couple of jokes out, couple of laughs, and I'm like, okay, let's try and win them over. And then just, I don't know, just couldn't get anything out of them. I'm like I've tried to do a little bit of crowd work recently. I've tried doing a bit of that. They weren't giving me anything. So then I keep doing my material, and at some point I fucking lost them, and I was just like, I just had to push through like 6 minutes of just pain where I was just getting smiles and like, and I'm like, fuck. So brutal. So I wrap up that gig. But the two crazy things about that gig, before the gig, okay, I walk into the toilets and there's a joke that I've been opening with lately about a stupid little joke where I find like cum on the floor in the venue's toilet before I come out and do my set. Stupid. But I walk into the toilets at this venue, look down on the floor as I'm pissing. There was genuinely, if it wasn't cum, it was dirty phlegm. I swear to God, somebody came on the floor in the bathroom. I quickly snap a photo. I send it to Adrian and Ash, and I was just like, when your jokes become a reality or something like that. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, it's a sign. I'm going to fucking crush this gig. But didn't end up happening that way. But anyway, I wrap up my set. I go say thank you to the room runner, grab my camera, run downstairs. Now, to get out of the place, there were 4 eshays, okay? 2 either side, and they had a giant Rottweiler, like at the exit. And so I had to walk through them to get out. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, please, like, and this is just my judgmental mind. I'm like, please don't start anything. I'm just not in the mood. I just want to get to the other gig. So I walk through them, and as I go to walk through them, the Rottweiler cuts me off. And I'm like, okay, this is their game. Rottweiler cuts me off. The 2 eshays behind, they get my wallet and shit out of my back pocket. And the other 2, they're like lookouts or whatever. So I'm getting ready, and I've gone, and I just talk straight to the dog. I'm like, all right, the dog's gonna be my out here. I'm like, hey buddy, how you going? And then one of the eshays, face tats, everything, fucking bum bag. He's like, oh, sorry about him, bud. I'm like, oh, it's all good. He goes, yeah, he's just my service dog. And I've gone, that is not a service dog. That is fucking, it was a roided out Rottweiler. And I was like, oh, no worries, buddy. I didn't want to like ask the next question and be like, what does he help you with? Because it would probably be murder little losers like you that just bomb after comedy gigs and walk into your car. So I just left it. I played it off with a bit of a laugh. I go, oh, no worries, mate. Have a good night. Dog moves and I power walk to my car. I would have won a bronze medal for Australia. The speed I was power walking to my car that night. But then I shot over to Guilt Free Cellar. So second week in a row I've done that one. I'm on there again in like 2 weeks. So the boys at Guilt Free are showing me some love lately, which is nice. But yeah, I get over there and a couple of surprise pop-ins that weren't on the lineup. Two just happened to be my two favourite Brisbane comedians. Craig Quartermain, Damien Power. And old Jimbo here, he finds himself in a Craig Quartermain and Damien Power sandwich. I just get sandwiched between the two goats. And yeah, I did not have as great of a set as I did last week. I proceeded to, it wasn't the most brutal bombing, but it just was not clicking for me. And there were just some guys over in the corner they just seemed too cool for school. I tried to riff with them a little bit, but I don't know. He just seemed like a cockhead, to be honest. Shout out to you if you're listening. So yeah, I got off and I already felt shit. And I was like, look, this is 100% a me issue because I 100% appreciate everyone in the scene that comes and gives me advice after gigs. But like I said, Craig Quartermain, one of my favourite comedians in the scene, comes up to me after and he just starts giving me like advice and breaking down my bits, which I genuinely appreciated. But I was just like, fuck. Like to bomb in front of him, I'm like, to bomb to the level where he felt like he had to come give me a confidence boost, a pat on the back with some advice. I was like, fuck, was it that bad? But yeah, shout out to Craig Quartermain. Appreciate he's been one of those other ones that's weirdly intertwined himself with my comedy career. Like the first little competition that I won down at Ballina, he was the headliner and the surprise judge. And from what I heard, he was the one that gave me the winning vote through. So yeah, appreciate any and all advice coming from his way. He's an absolute legend of the scene. But last night, to cap off the week, Distillery Road Market, the show we run at West Park Productions. Yeah, another fun gig. Pretty big crowd. The whole ground floor was full, which was good to see. And yeah, it's I don't know what else we can say about that. It's good. This is what I like about that gig, okay? It is definitely not a comedy room. It is not set up for comedy, but I don't know how we just seem to make it work every time. And I love seeing the comedians walk in the room and they hit the panic button. They're like, oh, shit, like we didn't realize it was going to be this big. We didn't realize this, and this. And I'm like, look, take all the stress off your back. I'm like, literally go up there and just have fun with the crowd. I'm like, if you want to do 10 minutes of crowd work, go nuts. I'm like, no expectations from here. You go up and you do whatever you think is best. And every single act, they stress out before they go up, they come off and they go, holy fuck, that was actually such a fun gig. And then even today, got messages from a few of them. They're like, as soon as I can get back on there, book me again. So, yeah, it's a fun gig just to fuck around with. And at the start of it, I was like, oh, I want to build this to be like the comedy hub, blah, blah, blah. And now that I've let that pressure off, much like the podcast, once you let that pressure off, that's when you start having fun with it and stuff again. So cool little room. Our next one there is the 18th of May. So if you're in the Southeast Queensland region, come check it out. Yeah, venue again, said they had amazing feedback. Had a couple of, oh yeah, that was the other cool thing. Had another couple of people. I went out on a limb at the end and I plugged the podcast and a couple of people came up again at the end and they're like, oh, we listen to podcasts. What's your podcast? Put it in their Spotify, yada, yada, yada. So shout out to you guys if you're listening. Hopefully this has been a half decent episode for you guys to jump on board. But yeah, cracking gig. Looking forward to the next one. So we are, holy shit, this might be the first episode in a couple of weeks. We tip the hour. So let's rip into Turns Out It Can Get Worse. A couple of videos here this week. They're all relatively short. So, oh, fuck. I almost fucked that. Let's drag this bad boy across. Oh, what's this guy? We've got a a rather large man staring down at his phone. Let's just hit play and see what happens. Oh, boy. Oh, dear. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, if you guys listened to that and you thought that that was a giant polar bear just smashing down on a phone, it basically was. It was a elderly, white-haired man with aggressive chest hair, just punching his fist down beside his phone. Just hey, I don't want to insinuate that he was mating with his phone, but that's what it appeared like to me, ladies and gentlemen. You guys be the judge. What do we got for this one? Oh, this guy seems nice. Let's drag that across. What's this bloke got to say?
This is for my family.
Okay.
Since I can't legally directly contact you, give me what's mine.
Oh.
Or you know what's coming.
What's coming?
I'm not playing anymore.
Didn't say you were, mate. Holy shit, that guy is angry about something. But he started off with, this is for my family. It's crazy the route that Fast and Furious has gone now. Like, Fast and Furious 11 seems like it's going to be the weirdest one out of the lot. And that's saying something. I don't know where they're going to go with that storyline. But it blows my mind how blokes can get to a certain age and just think that posting a reel or like a Facebook post or something just goes to the one person that you're talking to. But people like me see that and I'm like, bro, I think you need more counselling than I do. All right, what do we got? Oh, fuck, where's my mouse gone? Again, any producers in the Southeast Queensland region that want to come be my switch bitch, let me know. What's this bloke got to say?
I was fucking smoking that fucking Higginbotham. And I got so yiked up that I fucking installed a extra steering wheel in my shit.
Holy fuck. All right. That is a clearly methed out man that has had a bit too much meth and he's just installed an extra steering wheel in his fucking 1972 Toyota Camry. How methed out do you have to be to go, holy fuck, you know what my car would look cool with? An extra steering wheel. But let's cap off this segment, ladies and gentlemen. I don't normally like to make this segment about me, but I thought this would be fun for the podcast, a laugh for everyone. A lot of people ask Nikita and I, they're like, oh, how did James propose? Things like that. And to be fair, I'm not actually the one that proposed, but I'll play our proposal right now so you guys can see how it went down.
I had to ask your dad for his permission for this first. Mm-hmm. I want to know, will you marry me?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Careful! You okay?
Yeah, I was okay.
Obviously, I checked Illinois and Indiana laws. There's no law regarding how young you can get proposed to.
What the fuck? Okay, I don't remember that last part. There is no law on how young you can be proposed to. How young is he, ladies and gentlemen? That could be an issue, but I don't know if you guys saw in the background there is just a random dude just in like the darkest clown paint I've ever seen. Was that the dad? She had to ask for permission to marry him. I guess we'll never know. We need a part 2 to that video. So if you guys are watching this video and that was you, write into the show. Let us know if you guys are still happily married. Let us know how old he was at the time of proposal. And let us know if that was your dad. But that's been Turns Out It Can Get Worse, ladies and gentlemen. Let's rip into a couple of news articles of the week and a couple of movies and shit like that I've watched / listened to this week that I can recommend to you guys. So let's kick it off with a bit of drama that's going on in the Brisbane comedy scene at the moment, okay? Now, anyone that's on social media or watch the news or anything like that will see that there is a comedy promoter in the Brisbane scene at the moment being dragged across coals for an act that he put on to do their first solo comedy show, okay? Now, I just want to start by saying nothing but love to that comedy promoter. He's always been nice to me since I started comedy, always supportive. Yeah, nobody throw hate his way. So I'm not going to go throwing names on here. So a couple of trolls get on here and go and troll him as well. But if you're familiar with the beef, not the beef, the fucking news that's going on in the scene, more or less he put a Sydney rapper who wants to try his foot in comedy. He gave him his opportunity to do his first solo show, okay? And the guy proceeded to get up there and just say some purely out there, outrageous shit. The shit that I come on here almost every week and go, I can't believe somebody said that. He was dropping domestic violence jokes, pedophilia jokes, shit that we all know is not funny. And don't get me wrong, there are absolute goats that touch on things like that. Bill Burr, he knows how to mold and just maneuver a joke to get you fucking hating him off the bat with a topic like that, and then he'll spin it on you and go, oh my God, I've always thought wrong, you're right. Louis C.K., he has to be one of the best at getting the most fucked up premises and just spinning it to be funny as fuck. People like that, they can do it. If it is your first time ever doing comedy, don't fucking touch on subjects like that. You're not gonna be able to make it work, okay? And this guy proceeded to jump on stage and do that. They weren't even jokes. He was just giving a TED talk off his phone. He didn't even have the decency to learn his jokes. And he's just reading off his phone. The clips have been clipped up, thrown in every feminist group everywhere. And now that comedy promoter is being dragged over the coals because his banner was in the background. So yeah, look, a lot of us in the scene, and again, I don't want to, the comedy promoter, absolute legend. But if you did like a little bit of research, we all know this guy he's not a good fit for the Brisbane comedy scene, okay? This is the guy that if you go back a couple of months and you listen to an episode, I think I even called the episode like I'm Brisbane's Biggie Smalls or something like that. And I spoke about a Sydney rapper, came to one of my gigs and kicked the fuck off while I was on stage, ended up destroying the night, throwing a glass at the bloke that runs the comedy venue. It all ended in a shit show, okay? That's the exact same rapper that now is trying his foot in comedy. If you want to get into a scene, the last thing you do is glass a comedy room runner, one of the biggest comedy room runners in Brisbane, in Queensland. And then the night before that, it comes out that you pulled a knife on another comedy promoter. I don't know. Like that's... I know next to nothing. I'm not one of the fucking big dogs in the Brisbane comedy scene, but I guess I was involved in one of the incidents. But for me to know about the other one, there's a lot of people that sort of know about those incidents. So I don't know. Hopefully he's sort of moved on from the scene, not the promoter. Again, nothing but love from the promoter. Throw love his way. But yeah, crazy shit. So anyone that's thinking about trying comedy, play it safe at the beginning. Learn the ropes, go to rooms, see what everyone else is joking about, and go from there. But let's get on to some happier shit. I watched a TV series this week, much like the rest of the world. I think it's come out as Netflix's most watched TV series in history, which is crazy with the stuff that they've released, that this is now the biggest one. It's called Adolescence, and Nikita's been asking me to watch it for the last couple of weeks, and I've been like, nah, fuck, I just couldn't be fucked. And then all the podcasts I listen to and stuff, they start talking about it. They start saying how good it is, and I'm like, all right, let's watch it. Sit down, and it, like, everyone's like, oh, the ending ruins it. And so I've watched this entire series just waiting for the ending to ruin it, because up until the last episode, I was like, this is incredible. This is an amazing story. The cool thing as well that I liked, every episode is shot in one scene, like one take. So the camera just follows the actors, and like that part I absolutely loved. As someone who likes the back end of all like the creative shit, that was cool to watch. If they trimmed a lot of the fat, like a lot of the stuff where you're just following people, it probably could have been cut down to like 2 episodes. But hey, I liked it. A lot of people like it drags on. We got to the final episode. I'm like, okay, how are they going to ruin this? The only thing, look, I definitely wouldn't say they ruined it by doing this. There was just like a 10 to 15 minute rant towards the end of towards the back end of the last episode, where it really just drums in what the series was about, things like that. And it didn't ruin it for me. A lot of people, it may have, but for me, it was just like, okay, they sort of had to get that point across because that's what this whole thing has been leading to. And anyone that didn't pick that up in the previous episodes, I feel like that was for them just to drum it into them and go, okay, this is all. And again, I don't entirely agree with the message that was put out in the series, okay? Because it was all about toxic masculinity and how Andrew Tate is the worst person in the world. But to be fair, I get behind a lot of that shit, if we're being honest. And I think I've luckily found that middle ground where I can go listen to what some of these guys are saying, like Andrew Tate, even like people like David Goggins and Joe Rogan. They get ridiculed all the time for stuff they say. But like, I don't think any of them come from a bad place, if that makes sense. So I think I luckily found like the middle ground. But this TV series basically shows if someone buys into it 100% where they can get to. And even in saying that, watching the series, I don't think that was like really, I think it was just a kid that found himself in bad circumstances and things just like happened and he found himself in a shitty situation, if we're being honest. I don't think it really had to come down to the whole like toxic masculinity thing. But yeah, it was a cool TV series. Go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. The other thing I've got to plug, I listened to potentially my favorite Joe Rogan episode in a couple of years at least. And like, don't get me wrong, I love all the Protect Our Parks, all my favorite comedians that go on there. Yes, I love it. But this was the first episode I listened to that was just an intense episode that I just could not stop listening to. And it's episode 2295, and the guest is Scott Payne. So Scott Payne was an undercover cop for like, I forget how many years. Go listen to it because I'm not going to do it any justice. But he breaks down some crazy stories on there. Like probably the craziest one, he was in with this biker gang and he was in with them for a few weeks and things like that. And then one night they just got him in their clubhouse, put him in this small concrete room and they stripped him to check for a wire. And he was wearing a wire that night and he was just getting ready to like throw down with all these bikers and stuff. Luckily they didn't find it by like mere millimeters, but just that story, like it had me on edge as he was telling it. But he's just released a book. So 100% I'm going to be listening to that audio book this week because I just want to hear all the stories from his voice. So yeah, keen to see that. Go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Let's get on to motivational clip for the week. This was another cool one. Yeah, maybe you guys will be like, oh, it's toxic masculinity, but whatever. It's from the great Jocko Willink.
Ignore and outperform them. While you're over there watching me and talking about me, I'm working hard. You keep gossiping and I'll keep working. You keep talking smack and I'll keep working. And when you finally look around at where you are and where I'm at, you will lose and I will win.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. That one, I like that one. That was one that I could relate to this week because so many gigs I'll rock up to, and like I said, I'm not like necessarily chasing the gigs that a lot of people in the Brisbane scene are chasing. Like a lot of people are just like, oh, it's sit down or good chat. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Whereas I'm like, fucking anyone and everyone that'll give me a spot, let's do it. The more faces I can get in front of, the better in my mind. So yeah, so many times I'll rock up to like sit down gigs or good chat gigs and people will be like, where have you been? Like, you haven't been doing many gigs, blah, 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 blah. And I'll be like, I'm doing like 2 to 3 gigs a week. They're just not for these promoters. Like, there's more gigs out there, guys. You just need to go and chase them. And then I'll get on stage and have a good set and they'll be like, holy shit, you have been like putting work in. I'm like, thank you. So yeah, that clip rung true to me this week. Hopefully it does for you guys. Shows for this week and just shows coming up, basically just plugs. Friday the 4th, I'll be at the Orion Hotel. That's one of our shows we're putting on again for West Park Productions. That one has sold out again. We've got an absolute cracking lineup for that one again. I'm emceeing that one, so hopefully it goes even better than the last one, which I don't know if that is possible. Monday the 7th, I'll be at the Newmarket Hotel for sit-down comedy again. Sit-down's throwing me a few spots as of late, which I would like to take as a good thing, to be honest. So if you're around the Newmarket area, come check me out there future gigs, the next West Park Productions one at Sunny's at Margate will be Saturday the 26th. But again, before I could do any promotion, the venue put that for sale on Friday. It was sold out by Saturday. So that one is sold out as well. So huge things for West Park at the moment, which is sick. Now, the big ones. If I've got any listeners or you know anyone in Newcastle, I will be at the Newcastle Comedy Club on Friday the 11th and Saturday the 12th of April, doing the showcases there, which is fucking unreal. I spent 12 months last year trying to get on those with no luck, and now to just stumble across one. Absolutely unreal. And then May 2nd, these, I only found out about these literally after I finished recording last week. So again, if you are in or know anyone around the Moree area, I'll be there on May 2nd. And then the following night, I will be in Dubbo on May 3rd. So if you're in Moree or Dubbo, come check me out. Coming with that one's a bit of like a self-produced lineup that someone's put together and asked me to come with them on. So there's, I think, 4 comedians on that one. So come check us out. I can vouch for everyone on those lineups. Absolute legends, hilarious comedians. Other than that, send submissions via DM on Instagram at CantGetAnyWorsePodcast, or send me an email at CantGetAnyWorsepod@gmail.com. Again, appreciate all the love we've been getting lately. A lot more likes and shit on socials, a lot more shares, a lot more people DMing me saying they're loving the show, and on top of that, a lot more downloads. Like, to be honest, we've doubled where we were at in sort of December and shit. So let's keep that snowball effect going. If you know anyone that might like the show, share it around. Share it to anyone and everyone. Let's keep, while we're fucking on this trajectory, let's ride the momentum and keep growing together, because it would be absolutely unreal to take this to the next level and, go from there. So, again, appreciate you guys that listen every week, and I will see you later.
Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining.